The American Red Cross prevents and alleviates human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. Coming up on Polk Place, we will talk about some of the things they have to offer and how you can help. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Tina Mann, and joining me in the studio today is Tina Sweeten, the Mid-Florida Chapter Executive Director of the American Red Cross of Central Florida and the U.S. Virgin Islands. That is a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I know that American Red Cross is probably one of the first organizations I remember ever hearing about helping people as a child. And you have a great reputation, but I think people have kind of gotten away from knowing what you guys do. Sure. So give me an overview about what the American Red Cross is.
Okay. So primarily people know us usually for two things, that we show up when there's a large disaster and we collect blood. Here in Florida, we don't do blood collection, but our blood is often brought here because we resource about 40% of the blood across the United States. And our disaster services, we help with large events like when Irma happened, we were here. Currently, Sally in North Florida, we have responders there. We have responders in Louisiana and Texas because of Laura and Marco. And we also have responders on the West Coast dealing with wildfires. So most people think of us when they think of large disasters, but what most people don't know about us is that we do stuff every day in the community. Primarily, the one disaster that is the largest disaster across the United States is home fires, and people don't know that about us, but it's really an important part of the work that we do. So if a family experiences a home fire, usually the responding agency here in Polk County, usually Polk Fire and Rescue or one of the local fire departments, they know about our services, so they will let the family know. They will also call our dispatch, and we will dispatch volunteers who will come out anytime, day or night, to the person's home to make sure that they have their immediate needs met. So what that means is we'll make sure that if they don't have a friend or family member to stay with, or the house isn't livable, we will put them in a hotel, or if it's a multifamily fire, when we're not in COVID, we may open up a shelter. Right now with COVID protocols, everybody would go to a hotel because we want to make sure everybody's safe and healthy. And we would make sure that they had, clothing. We would make sure that they had a comfort kit, which would have, their essential toothpaste, toothbrush, things like that in it. So really those immediate needs right then and there at 2 o'clock in the morning, if the house burns down, we'll make sure you're taken care of. And then beyond that, we have a case management team that works with the family. And so they will connect with the family the next day, find out what their longer term needs might be. And then we use the 211 system and all of our community partners to try to put together a recovery plan with that family.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen how integral all of that is. I've worked with fire rescue. I'm actually one of the people who respond to scenes to help out, and these people have just lost everything. Right. They're scared. They're completely just out of their minds. They don't know what to do. They don't know anything. And you guys come in and you provide just this constant source of just calm and the next steps, things that people aren't thinking of in that moment. Right. So it's really a beautiful thing. And you guys are out like almost immediately.
Yes.
I mean, I have been shocked. Like all of a sudden, you're there.
Yes, our volunteers are very dedicated to the work that they do, and they show up. And, some of the things that people don't know that we do and are always surprised to hear is if your glasses got burnt up in the fire, we're going to help you get those glasses replaced. If you need your prescriptions refilled, we have nurses on our volunteer roster who can help you to get those. If you have durable medical equipment. So, all of those things that you probably aren't thinking of in the immediate, when our caseworkers call you, we can really walk you through those steps and help you get back on your feet.
That's so cool. And you mentioned earlier with the hurricane response and going to Sally and the wildfires and everything else that we have people. And when you say we have people, you are talking about people right here in
Yes.
Central Florida. We're not talking nationwide. You're
Right.
talking your chapter.
Yes. So for my chapter, which covers Polk, Pasco, Citrus, Hernando, Lake, and Sumter counties, we have 19 responders that have gone out to either be there in person on the ground or they're supporting virtually. From Polk County, I believe there are 5 or 6 from that group that came from Polk County. And what that means is that they go somewhere for 2 weeks at minimum. We ask them to do a 2-week commitment. They never know what their sleeping or eating arrangements are going to be.
Wow.
Right now with COVID, primarily everybody's staying in hotel rooms. But generally we would open up a staff shelter and they would sleep on cots, just like in our client shelters. And they're away from home and they're working 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And sometimes they're eating MREs and sometimes they're eating catered food. It just depends on where we're at and who's generous to us at that place. But it's something that I think people get it in their blood and they really enjoy doing, because when you are able to hand a client an assistance card or hand a child a stuffed animal who's just lost everything in their life, like that right there makes up for missed meals and missed sleep and all of that stuff. So
You're
yeah.
literally going to make me cry. It's when you've seen it, and you've seen the devastation and you've seen people personally affected, it's big. I mean, it's big. And it is super rewarding to be able to help in some way, shape, or form. So how does somebody become a volunteer?
If somebody would like to become a volunteer, and we still are recruiting and training volunteers currently, our number one priority is the safety and well-being of our workforce and our clients and our blood donors. So we're following all CDC protocols. We're making sure that we provide all volunteers with any PPE that they need. We will provide COVID testing if they've gone out and they would like to do that. Just call 1-800-RED CROSS or go to redcross.org and click on the volunteer link and it'll walk you through the steps. And once you've filled out that initial application, somebody from right here in Central Florida, probably from our Winter Haven office, will give you a call. And most of our training at this point is virtual, so you don't have to come in to get the training. You can do it at home. And we have changed many of our positions into virtual positions so that we can keep working. So let's say you don't want to go off for 2 weeks, you don't want to leave your family and your life, or you can't. We have lots of opportunities that you can do right from your home to help us. Currently, we have a lot of people coming into the queue whenever there's a large disaster. Many people want to sign up to volunteer. And one of the jobs that is time consuming and that we need a lot of help with is just screening applicants to find out what they want to do. So that can be done from your home.
As far as requirements to be a volunteer, their specific ages or their background checks, things like that.
So we do a comprehensive background check just for the safety of our clients, and 18 is the age that you have to be in order to deploy. But you can become what we call a full-fledged volunteer in the sense that you're in our system at the age of 13. And if you want to volunteer with your parents to help out with stuff locally, you can do it, at any age.
That's awesome. I know another way that I've seen younger students be able to help you guys out is to arrange supply drives or sponsorship drives, things like that. So what are your needs within the community if somebody is like, I really can't volunteer, but I have money to give, I have goods to give? What opportunities are out there for that?
So usually we don't do collection of goods. We usually do that through our partner organizations. And right now with COVID, we really can't take goods. But money is always helpful. We pride ourselves in that 90% of the money we bring in goes right back out to our clients. So they can go to redcross.org and they can donate there, or they can send a check to the local office.
That's awesome. And I would assume that if they did have some kind of big goods donation or something and they called you, you could get them to the right organization.
Yeah, I mean, if they have a water donation or something like that, that they, they can always call us and we can redirect or figure out a way that we can help.
Yeah, so COVID has changed a little bit of what you guys do, but it sounds like you have just continued to plow through it and continue to help people during it, which is a big thing because, I mean, we still need all the help we can get at this point. Tell me one of your favorite stories.
Wow. So I've worked for the Red Cross for almost 4 years now, but I was a volunteer for about 21 years prior to that. And I remember moving to the Midwest when I was in my late 20s and experiencing a tornado for the first time, which, you know, seems kind of strange, but I lived on the West Coast. We don't have tornadoes. And so I was working for the Red Cross, and I happened to be, I was volunteering for the Red Cross, and it was a weekend, and I was traveling that day to go to my in-laws' house, and all of a sudden this tornado just out of nowhere came, and it crossed the freeway right in front of us. It flipped a semi over, and then it went down the road into this kind of rural area of Minnesota. And so we turned around and went back to the office and got our DAT gear and went out to see if we could help. And it wasn't a weekend because the kids had just gotten out of school. And so we had all these very frightened children who had gone home, you know, primarily to empty homes. And that tornado, I don't know how, but it hopped and skipped down that road and demolished every single barn and did not hit one single house.
That's insane.
Yeah, and so, you know, you just never know with the weather what's going to happen, but, you know, we kind of rounded up the kids and called parents and, you know, got people home, but it was, and so we didn't have a lot of stuff that we needed to help them with because we don't really repair barns, unfortunately, but it let me see that everything is just so unpredictable, and to be the calming force when something like that happens and be able to be there for families and kids and help get animals back in where they're supposed to be, like it definitely touched me and made me want to continue. So,
well, you guys are doing amazing things. You have been for years and years and years and years, and I commend you. I commend all the work you do, and I encourage everybody to find out some way they can help you guys because you provide invaluable service to our community.
And just so everybody knows, there are also opportunities within our Service to Armed Forces branch, which allows us to work with military members and veterans. And we are the people that do the emergency messaging calls. So if your spouse is overseas and their parent is sick and they need to get home, we work with the military to make that happen. And we have caseworkers, volunteer caseworkers that help us with that work. In addition, we do emergency calls for veterans and active military. So if they're needing something or if they just got home and they need resources, we help get them connected to those. And then our international services, which helps people who maybe they got separated from their families overseas and migrated here and they need help connecting back to their family. We have volunteers that do that as well. So we have lots of opportunities. It doesn't have to be in disaster. And then of course we have our training services, which we teach first aid and CPR classes as well.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody will come help.
Great. Me too. Thank you so much.
The American Red Cross has served Central Florida since 1917. The volunteers serve over 8.2 million people across 5 chapters: Florida's Space Coast, Greater Orlando, Mid-Florida, Southwest Florida, and Tampa Bay. The American Red Cross of Mid-Florida serves Citrus, Hernando, Lake, Pasco, Polk, and Sumter counties 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Central Florida region serves families throughout our community thanks to a team of 2,000 adult and youth volunteers. Together, these dedicated volunteers donate over 100,000 hours of community service a year. These hours translate into a highly trained and highly skilled team, a fun and supportive work environment, and the delivery of critical mission services to families in desperate need every day. For more information about how you can help our local chapter, you can look them up at www.redcross.org or give them a call at 863-294-5941.